Hey guys, it's Shadowarty here and I'm back with another 6th Gen Wi-Fi battle. Today we have a match against Rox. This is another match for my stream, and looking at his team, he has power on his team. He's got a Venusaur, which I'm going to assume that that's his Mega. He's got a Cloyster, possibly a Shell Smasher. He's also got a Heatran, which is definitely a huge threat, and Conkeldurr, which is Assault Vested. So a lot of threats on my opponent's team. I'm very afraid he's got a really powerful team, and yeah. So why don't we get started with this match? So I'm going to lead off my Volcanion because I know he's probably going to lead off with a Conkeldurr, and I want to deal as much damage as possible because Conkeldurr, he probably leads off with a Conkeldurr thinking that he can knock off my item. I am Assault Vested, so I can take the knockoff pretty well. I'm going to decide to just go for the Steam Eruption. Even if I get the burn and he has Guts, I'm actually fine with that because I know he can't kill me anyway in one hit. So I actually do get the burn, which is, I know it's the knockoff's gonna do a bit more damage. You know, it's unfortunate, but look at that, I still take that pretty well. That didn't even do 50%. And at this point, I'm free to just go for another Steam Eruption and knock out this Conkeldurr. Unfortunately, though, he's gonna decide to switch out, go into his Heatran now. Kind of a strange play because I do have the Steam Eruption, so this Heatran's gonna have to be forced to take a Steam Eruption. Kind of a weird play. Not sure why he did that, but at this point, I figured I would just go for the Steam Eruption again. I mean, it's a Heatran, why wouldn't I? As he's going to decide to switch out once again, going into the Venusaur. That's what he probably should have done in the first place. So that was a really weird play. Not sure why he brought in the Heatran. Maybe he was predicting I would go for the Fire Blast, so he would get the Flash Fire ability. But then again, I know he has a Heatran on his team, so there's really no reason for me to go for the Fire Blast. So I decided to switch out now, go into my Cobalion, knowing that I resist both of Venusaur's stabs. This Venusaur is still going to be annoying, though, because it does have Sleep Powder. It does get Leech Seed, so that's going to be a bit unfortunate. But I do resist his stabs, which is nice. But he is going to be able to wear me down. He does go for the Giga Drain, which doesn't do anything at all. And I'm pretty much free here to just set up my Stealth Rocks, or I can attack this Venusaur. It's really up to me. And I'm actually going to decide to go for the Rocks, I believe, because it is the better play. Residual damage is always important to this, to me on this in this match. As he's going to switch out, go into his Cofagrigus now. Yeah, so I go for the Stealth Rock as that's going to put an advantage to my side of the field. He goes into the Cofagrigus knowing that this Cofagrigus is physically defensive. It can take any physical hit. So I'm going to be forced to switch out now because I obviously don't want to get burnt. Actually, no, I don't switch out. I go for the Taunt knowing that he'd probably try to Will-O-Wisp me. And yeah, I'm looking really good here because with this Cofagrigus taunted, he's either going to be forced to either switch or just spam Shadow Ball. He's actually going to switch now, and I actually decided, I think, to stay in as he goes into the Conkeldurr once again. So, yeah. I decided to just go for the Iron Head, deal as much damage as possible. He brings in the Conkeldurr, and the Conkeldurr doesn't die, but the burn is going to kill him. So I was really happy about that because this Conkeldurr is a huge threat. Conkeldurr is always a threat. Whenever you see Conkeldurr on someone's team, it is a threat. But the Conkeldurr does go down, and it doesn't really do anything in this match, and I was really happy about that. So now he has a free safe switch into whatever he wants. He decides to bring in his Nidoking just to go either for the Earth Power or the Earthquake, depending on if he's physical or special. I decided to go into my Snorlax knowing that I could take any physical hit, as he's going to go for the Thunderbolt. As you're going to see, this is going to do absolutely no damage at all. This thing could either be Life Orb or Choice Scarf. I do see a lot of Choice Scarf Nidokings around, so I'm going to play that like this thing is Life Orb, though, because it does get the Sheer Force ability. Of course, he's going to switch out knowing that I probably have the Earthquake. This match was in my stream, so he kind of knows my team. He actually brings in the Cloyster now, which unfortunately it isn't that good for me. As I decided to go into my Volcanion now, knowing that he's probably going to end up Shell Smashing anyway. But he goes to the Rock Blast, and that's really unfortunate because I'm probably going to lose my Volcanion because Cloyster does have Skill Link, and even if I don't die this turn, I believe Cloyster outspeeds me anyway, so even next turn it would kill me. He does get a crit on the last Rock Blast. I don't think that mattered based on how much damage the other 4 Rock Blasts did, and I do lose my Volcanion. It's not the worst situation in the world because I can just bring in Cobalion. Luckily for me, he didn't Shell Smash, as I'm going to be able to scare out this Cloyster. You know, that's really good for me. He actually brings in the Heatran, as I decided to just go for the Close Combat. It kind of was a risky play because he could have also brought in the Cofagrigus, but then again, I could always just taunt the Cofagrigus if he decided to bring it in. So he decided that I would maybe want to go for the Iron Head, so he brought in the Heatran. It doesn't work out for him there as he does lose the Heatran. So he brings in a Nidoking now, knowing that he can potentially scare me out with the potential Earth Power. And I could just keep bringing in Snorlax. Snorlax can take special hits for days. Its special defense is so high. As he's just going to go for the Earth Power, you're going to see it's not really going to do anything. It does a pretty fair amount considering that Nidoking does have pretty good special attack, and he does have the Sheer Force ability. I'm going to actually pull a double switch now, knowing that he's probably going to end up switching himself and going to my Superior. So, he's actually going to keep spamming Earth Power. I thought that was pretty interesting. I thought I did have Earthquake, so I didn't think he would stay in. A bit unfortunate, but then again, I can scare out this Nidoking now with a potential Leaf Storm. It might not kill, but at least I think that tells me that he's choiced because Nidoking does get Ice Beam. Nidoking does get its stab move, which is the Sludge Wave or Sludge Bomb, but he didn't go for that, so that kind of tells me that he's choiced in some way. I decided to go for the Giga Drain now. Not sure why. I probably should have just went for the Leaf Storm. Kind of a strange play on my part as he brings in the Venusaur. Now I decided to go into my Cobalion. Unfortunately, he makes a nice prediction and goes to the Leech Seed, and now I'm seeded. So that really sucks because I really can't do anything to this Venusaur. I probably could have hit him with an Iron Head. I figured it won't kill depending on what kind of Venusaur this is. If he's max HP, max defense, I probably can't take it. He probably can't take it. He probably can take it pretty well. I actually decided to go for the Taunt, knowing that he'd probably try to like go for Sleep Powder or something, but he actually goes for the Giga Drain, so a bit unfortunate. However, with this thing taunted, I could probably now just switch out and go into my Snorlax because I can take special hits for days, and with him being taunted, he really can't hit me hard because all he has is the Giga Drain, which he's showing me now. So I'm actually going to pull a switch now, go into my Snorlax. I can take special hits for days, and he's probably just going to go for the safe Giga Drain or switch out, whatever is in his best interest. He probably just wants to get rid of my Cobalion because my Cobalion is just a huge threat to his team because, as you can see, he cannot take me down. So I bring in Snorlax now, and I figured I would just go for any attacking move. As he goes for the Sludge Bomb, he doesn't get the poison, thankfully. I do have Rest and Curse on this Snorlax. I could go for that potentially, even if I get poison, so it really doesn't matter too much. I go for the Body Slam, hoping for it to get the Paralysis. I don't get it, and this Venusaur taunt wears off. So that's unfortunate, because now he can just go for the Leech Seed, and he can continue healing back HP. I decided to just keep spamming Body Slam. At this point, I just want to get a Para on this Venusaur now. I go for another Body Slam. I don't get it. Kind of unfortunate. That's 2 Body Slams, no Para. What are you going to do there? I think Para is only like a 30% chance. So at this point, I'm being weighed down by this Venusaur. And I really can't do much because I do have Earthquake, but it's not Stab. So it's really not going to do much. He is neutral to the Earthquake, and it's not Stab, so Body Slam is definitely going to do more damage. I decide to bring in my Cobalion once again, as I figured he'd probably go for the Sludge Bomb again, and I pretty much have a free safe switch into my Cobalion. I figured I'd just go for Taunt again. I don't want this thing to set up more Leech Seeds, as he's going to go for the Synthesis, which is pretty awesome for me because now he can't hit me with a Leech Seed. He can only attack me. At this point, now I can just start spamming Iron Head because I just want to kill this Mega Venusaur. I do get the flinch, which is awesome, as even if I didn't get the flinch, he probably would have just Giga Drained and it wouldn't have done much anyway. At this point, I'm just going to keep spamming Iron Head. Even if this one doesn't kill, I'm at a point where he can't attack me. I mean, he can hit me with Giga Drains, but he can't heal back any HP besides going for Giga Drain, but I do resist the Giga Drain. So at this point, it's a dead Mega Venusaur because I could just go for the Iron Head next turn and take out this Venusaur. If he wants to switch out, that's fine by me. He's actually going to decide to sack his Venusaur. Not sure if I agree with that. It could have been useful for him later, but yeah, so the Venusaur is going to die. I'm really, really happy with that. The Heatran's dead, the Conkeldur's dead, and the Mega Venusaur is dead. That's huge, huge Pokemon out of the way. As he's going to bring in a Cofagrigus now. I'm a bit afraid of this thing. I do carry Taunts, so I'm probably just going to go for that anyway. It's really the safest play for me. Even if he goes for Shadow Ball or another attacking move, that's fine by me because if I can keep this thing, just keep attacking, that's going to be good for me. This thing could carry Calm Mind. I have seen some Cofagrigises that carry Calm Mind that like to set up, so that's why I really want to taunt this thing. So I figured at this point I would just keep spamming. Actually, no, I decided to switch out now, knowing that knowing that this thing is probably just carry Shadow Ball. I figured I'd bring in my Superior now because Cofagrigus is probably invested in max HP, max defense. It probably can't take special hits that well. He goes to the Shadow Ball, and since I am the contrary Superior, he ends up getting the crit, and normally it would be a special defense drop, and since I am invested. I am a contrary superior. I get a special defense increase. I go for the Leaf Storm, and I get the special attack increase. So I didn't think I would live the Shadow Ball, because even with the special attack defense increase, because the superior had barely any HP left. So that's a bit unfortunate. I did deal damage to the Sapphire, so I am pretty happy. But he does have probably Pain Split, so that's going to be a bit annoying. So I figured I'd bring in my Alomomola now, just go for the Toxic, poison this thing. As long as he keeps this thing in, it's going to take residual damage, and I'm really happy with that, because I know that he can't really do much to me other than Pain Split. He goes for a Will-O-Wisp, that's fine. Alomomola does not care about being burnt. And I'm looking really good here, because at this point, Cobalion is my MVP. It was a huge threat to his entire team. And at this point, I can potentially just keep stalling out this Cofagrigus, because I do carry Protect. Poison damage is going to rack off every turn. He does show me the Pain Split, so that's a bit unfortunate. At this point, I figured I should switch out, go into a Pokemon that has barely any HP left, like my Cobalion, and make him actually lose HP. I figured that would be pretty funny. And then I can potentially just take him out since I do outspeed. So I figured I'd go into my Cobalion now, or I can go into another Pokemon that has barely any HP left, because I don't want him healing back HP. But he is poisoned, so as long as he stays in, that's going to benefit me. So I figured I'd go into my Cobalion now, as he would try to Pain Split. He actually goes for the Hex, a bit unfortunate. It's going to do a little bit of damage. But luckily for me, though, even if he didn't, luckily for me, though, I don't die. So that's good, because if he tries to Pain Split me, I'm going to go back into Cobalion. So I figured I would switch out now, keep my Cobalion around just in case he tried to Pain Split with my Alomomola. So I go back into my Alomomola now, because I obviously have the Regenerator. I heal all that HP back. And I figured he obviously wouldn't go for the Pain Split this turn, because he obviously doesn't want to lose HP. He's actually going to pull a switch. Luckily for me, he doesn't want to take poison damage. He brings in the Nidoking. Really unfortunate for me. But I think I could probably take at least one Thunderbolt from this Nidoking. So I actually decided to switch out now. Go into my Snorlax, because, I mean, why not? I can take special hits for days. No reason to let my Alomomola risk taking a Thunderbolt. So I go to my Snorlax. It barely does any HP. And I can either just go for the rest, the Curse, or I can just Earthquake this Nidoking to death. I figured I would just... I don't remember what he did, but he actually decides to pull a switch back into his Cofagrigus, knowing that I'd probably rest this turn. But then again, obviously, I don't want to rest, because I don't want him to bring in the Cofagrigus and Pain Split me. So I go for the Earthquake. It doesn't kill, which is very unfortunate, because now he could try to Pain Split me. But luckily for me, I still have my Cobalion around, so I can just go back into Cobalion and potentially stall out this Cofagrigus a bit more, as he's going to go down eventually, because Poison is going to do more and more damage every turn. Now, I figured he'd try to Pain Split me. I go back into my Cobalion now. A Pain Split would be pretty much useless at this point. It would be just a useless turn. I think, lose a little bit of HP, so it doesn't really matter. I think he gained like 3 HP. It doesn't really matter at all. At this point, I can now just go for the Iron Head. If he stays in, then the Cofagrigus is dead. If he brings in the Nidoking, that's going to benefit me either way, because I do deal damage to the Nidoking. So either way, it's going to be a benefit for me. So I figured I'd just go for the Iron Head. He actually decides to stay and let his Cofagrigus die. And yeah, I believe he has one more Pokemon left, and that's the Nidoking. He does activate the Mummy, which is a bit unfortunate. You know, whatever. I really don't care at this point. And his last Mon is the Nidoking. So at this point, I figured I could just let my Cobalion die, because even if I bring in Snorlax now, I'm at a point where I'm not sure if I can live 2 hits, because he obviously outspeeds me. Actually, no, I do decide to go into Snorlax anyway. So yeah, Snorlax is just a huge wall to his entire team. Actually, yeah, what am I talking about? I could definitely live 2 hits from this Nidoking. I thought Snorlax had a bit of less HP left, but, you know, Earth Power does actually a pretty good amount. It does maybe about half, but after leftovers, I'm pretty sure I can take another one. So at this point, I just decide to stay in, let him deal with an Earth Power. As long as he doesn't get a crit, he shouldn't kill. And I live with like 15 HP, and I can go for the Earth Power. And the Earthquake, the Earthquake, and that should kill, and it does. And yeah, so the Nidoking lives with like barely any HP. Actually, it doesn't. The Nidoking doesn't die, so he lives with barely any HP. A bit unfortunate, because he can now deal damage to my team. he basically lived with like a fake focus sash. That's pretty funny. He goes to the Earth Power. I go into my Alamomola. I don't take that well at all. Alamomola doesn't have the best special defense in the world at all. I'm investing mostly defense, not special defense. And Alamomola has really weak base defense. So at this point, I would just switch out again. I need my regenerator back. And I decided to go back into my Snorlax. Pretty much this time now is Death Fodder. I really should have just done this from the start. It doesn't really matter, though, because obviously Alamomola still has a regenerator ability, and I can heal almost all that HP back. So the Snorlax is going to go down. It did work to this Nidoking, though. And I can bring in my Alamomola now once again, knowing that I can now take any hit from this Nidoking. He's just going to keep spamming Earth Power, so that pretty much means that he is choice, because he would have went for the Thunderbolt had he been not choice. And I can just go for the Scald, take out this Nidoking, and I believe he has 1 or 2 more Pokemon left. So I'm looking really good here. The Nidoking does go down. And yeah, so Alamomola is looking really good here, just chilling over here. It did take down the Nidoking, which I'm really happy about. I do take burn damage, you know, whatever. I can switch out and just heal almost all that HP back. He goes into Joker, the Cloyster now, which is really scary because this thing is probably going to end up shell smashing in my face. I figured I would just try to Toxic this thing. I have 2 or 3 Pokemon left, so I can potentially stall out this Cloyster a little bit. I do have Protect. So I figured I would just go for the Toxic and try to poison this Cloyster. And what do you know? I have to miss the Toxic. I have to miss the Toxic. It's not a match if I don't miss the Toxic. And this Cloyster now is a huge threat to my team because now I'm at a point where I'm really scared because now, I'm going to have to sack either one of my Pokemon. I decided to just sack my Cobalion now because I know I obviously can't outspeed. He goes for Rock Blast. If Rock Blast doesn't kill, he can just he will outspeed me next turn anyway. So that's really unfortunate, but you know what are you going to do there? So my Cobalion, I think, is going to live a hit. Actually, yeah, it is going to live a hit. And I can just go with a Forever move I want to go for, but he is going to outspeed me. So whatever I go for, I'm going to die. So he goes for the Icicle Spear, and that is easily going to be able to take me down after 2 hits. So my Cobalion does go down. Really unfortunate there because this Cloyster is a huge, huge threat after setting up a Shell Smash and letting me live a Toxic. Had I hit the Toxic, that would have been huge for me because this Cloyster would have taken a ton of damage. And I decided to just go into my Tyranitar now, knowing that I still probably can't outspeed. But if I can live a hit from this Cloyster, which I probably won't, then I can retaliate with a Pursuit or Crunch or whatever I want to go for. Unfortunately, my Tyranitar does die, but I do set up Sandstorm, which is huge because this Cloyster is going to take residual damage every turn. So at this point, I think I have 1 more Pokemon left, and that's my Alamomola. Yeah, so at this point, I figured I would try to just stall out this Alamomola now. He goes for the Rock Blast, and he ends up missing, so I thought that was pretty funny. I do go for the Wish. I really have no reason not to because I need to get rid of this Cloyster. And here is where I can potentially go for the Protect and heal all that HP back. He's actually going to make a good play, and he's going to go for another Shell Smash because he knows that I have the Protect because he saw it earlier. Nice play on his part because what that does is that increases his attack, but however, this is important because this lowers his defense and special defense since he used his White Herb earlier. And that's huge because that allows me, if I can live a hit from this Cloyster, I can just go for the Scald. So it's going to do a bit of damage, and I do heal almost all that HP back. So at this point, it all comes down if I can live a Rock Blast. This thing is at +2, so if I can live a Rock Blast, I can retaliate with a Scald. I'm not sure if it'll kill, but I'm at a point where Sandstorm might be able to take him out. So I go for the Scald, and he doesn't die, but I get the burn after he misses the Rock. Actually, no, I don't get the burn, but he dies to Sandstorm after he missed the Rock Blast. So he ends up missing 2 Rock Blasts, 2 huge plays, but because I think Rock Blast might have been able to kill me, so that was a huge, huge advantage for me because I got so lucky that he missed 2 Rock Blasts. And that is going to be a 1-0 victory in my favor. So hopefully you guys did enjoy today's match. If you did, leave me a like, a favorite, and a subscription. And I will catch you guys in the next one. This is Shadow Artie signing out. Peace, guys.